Shalom. Start off this lesson by saying Ka Hala Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Salutations to the elect, pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy to the sincere Akwat that may listen. See this news article here, Daily News. I came across this about a couple days ago. I wanted to do a quick lesson on this, okay? You can see the headlines. It says, beloved royal is gone at 99. Brilliant but troubled musician dies at 50. And I thought this was indicative of many things, but one thing that came to my mind was the parable of the rich and the poor man, okay? Because Prince Henry, right? Prince Philip, okay? He's gonna wake up into slavery, okay? When he gets reincarnated, he's gonna be reincarnated in slavery, where DMX is gonna come back in the kingdom as a prince, okay? As a prince in royalty, all right? Because he's an Israelite. Yes, he was a 2/3, but he's gonna come back in his right mind because that's a part of the new covenant. Okay, the laws statutes, and commandments are gonna be in our inward parts. So it's gonna be nature, okay? Because we're gonna have new flesh, okay? We're gonna have new bodies, righteous bodies. So, anyways, I thought this article was indicative of that parable of the rich and the poor man. So I'm gonna go into that, and Lord willing, this lesson's edify. So Luke 16:19, okay, and it says, there was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And purple, if you don't know, is the color of royalty, okay? And it says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores. Now, the rich man represents Esau, Edom, okay? Because they're the ones ruling right now, right? Because this is their rulership, this is their kingdom. Okay, and Lazarus, the beggar, represents Israel, because it goes back to the curses that we shall be the tail and he shall be the head, right? Let me get that real quick, just to back up my point. Salak. Go Deuteronomy 28 and 44. He shall lend, let me go 43 here. Yeah, because the rich man represents, like I said, it represents Esau, Edom, and Lazarus, the beggar, represents us Israelites, okay? You Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. This is the curses pursuing to the slavery we would go into, okay? Going back to, was it 1416, 1419, beginning of the 1419, or 1614, if I'm not mistaken. Talking about the transatlantic slave trade, okay? But Deuteronomy 28 and 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shall not lend to him. That's right, because we have nothing to lend to Esau but our own selves. That's why we were bought into or sold into slavery. Okay, that's all we had to offer was our own selves, because according to Esau, Esau sees us as cattle, okay, and sees us as merchandise. We're of his property, right? That's why when you got your, we have our SIN numbers, we have your social, your SIN number, your license, okay, your birth certificate. All these are tags, basically, okay, of Esau's cattle, because just like they do with animals, man, they tag animals, right, that belong to certain farms, so that if they wander off, they're found and they're able to come back to the owner. That's how Esau treated us, and still is treating us. Okay, it says, "And he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." Okay, so basically, in this captivity, okay, Esau's captivity, we go to him for everything. All right, so back to Luke 16 and 19 or 20. "And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table." And that represents us getting, very little in everything that Esau reaped. Okay, all of Esau's substance, okay, that which he stole, okay, through war, okay, all those substance that he has stolen, which he's stolen from us, okay, we get nothing but the crumbs off of that, man. The crumbs off the table of the elites. All right, these universal incomes that's happening during this pandemic, all that's just nothing but crumbs, man. These higher up, like people like Jay-Z, these higher up rappers, hip hop stars, and all that, they're nothing but a welfare case in comparison to the super elite. Okay, the super elite, the wealth that they acquire is in the trillions. So anything we get from them is nothing but crumb. Believe that, it's crumb. Okay. It says, "And it came to pass the beggar died," or slake, verse 21, "and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores." The dogs represent the other nations, man. Because the other nations, we went into slavery, and we went under slavery, and we went into slavery under every nation, okay, in the heavens, on earth. The worst captivity we've been under is Esau's captivity, which is the last captivity, which is the captivity that we're in right now. All right. "And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom." Right? What the bosom goes back into? It goes back into that promise, because the Most High made his promise to Abraham through okay, through his seed, okay, and the seed, the line, the lineage being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, that he was going to multiply his seed upon the face of the earth, and that we were to rule ultimately in the very end. Going back to Jacob and Esau, when Jacob supplanted Esau and got that birthright. Okay, right. That's why it also says in Second Ezra that let me actually get that real quick. Let me go to that. Let me not just talk about it. Be about it. Let me go and see if I can find. Bear with me one moment. Salak. No, that's not the precept I'm looking for. Salak. Bear with me. Okay. That's okay. The rest precept I'm going to look up. It's just as good. Come on. Second Ezra, the 6th chapter. Khan. Khan. This is Second Ezra, chapter 6. Let me start at 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Okay. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, okay? And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So when we go back to this news article here, you know, DMX represents Jake. He's the Israelite, okay? So he's of the stock of Jacob, and Prince Philip is an Edomite, so he's of the stock of Esau, and both of their futures. One is gonna wake up into everlasting joy, okay? Well, he'll wake up with some shame because he was a 2/3. But ultimately, he's going to be living he's going to be living better than Prince Philip. Prince Philip is waking up into slavery. DMX isn't going to wake up into slavery. All right. That followeth. Khan. Now going back to the precept here, Luke 16 and 22. And it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. And that's talking about that promise, which ultimately, is the new covenant, because it was through Yahushua that we were able to, because the Most High didn't change, okay? The Most High sent his only begotten son, okay, who was of the lineage of David, through Solomon, okay, of the tribe of Judah, and became that sacrificial lamb that was not blemish. So basically, what that mean is that when he was here, Yahushua did everything in perfection. He did it perfectly, so that when he was crucified, he would be a perfect sacrifice. Okay, which is really is the ultimate mercy of Israel, because he died only for Israel's sake. But first the elect, the rest of Israel, the 2/3, are going to receive the promises in the kingdom. But they have to be destroyed first. Okay? You see? That's why DMX was taken out. Okay? But he's going to come back into the promises. Where King Philip was taken out as well. But he's going to come back into judgment, into his judgment, his curses. Which is a part of his curses is being enslaved. Okay? And it says, verse 23, and in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Remember, Lazarus represents Israel. So the torments, the hell, is really slavery, like I said. Okay? 1,000 years of slavery. And it says, actually, let me get that real quick, because that's in the scriptures here. You know what? Let me go to Blue Letter here. Let me start at this is Obadiah 1 and 15. I'll start. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is near upon all heathens. So that's Esau and every other nation. Okay, especially Esau. Okay, and the day of the Lord is the destruction of this kingdom. Okay, Esau's kingdom. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. And these Edomites have a lot to pay for, man. They have a lot to pay for, okay? For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion, which is another name for Israel, shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob, being Israel, shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. Okay, so that's talking about Judah, Ephraim, because the house of Joseph. It's talking about Ephraim. So that's like the northern tribe, and then you got Judah, the head of the southern tribe. Okay. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. So they're going to be, so, you know, just like you need wood, okay, firewood to keep the fire hot and going, that's what Esau is going to be, man, onto us. Okay, we're going to just basically, just like they use us for resources, okay, we're going to use them up continually. Okay. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh hath spoken it. That's right, because you know there's going to be no more Edomites. The color white is in the human beings is going to be no more. Everybody's going to go back to, every human on the planet is going to go back to a shade of brown, okay? Okay, so bear with me one moment. There was one particular precept I was looking for. No, slack. That wasn't the precept I was looking for. That's okay. Let me go back to what I was reading. Okay, so Luke 16 and let's go Luke 16 and 23. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flames. So then we're not gonna take it easy. We're not gonna take it easy on Esau and the kingdom, man. We're gonna break their back. Okay, we're gonna break their back day in and day out. Okay, building up the kingdom, because they're gonna be our slaves, just like we were their slaves. They had no mercy on us, so we're gonna have no mercy on them. Okay, the scriptures say to do double unto her, right? Let me get that real quick, because that's also prophecy. And we're getting close to that time, man. We're getting very close to that time. So this is Revelation 18, and let me start at 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. The her is talking about America, okay, which is the Mecca of Esau's rulership, okay, and his wickedness. And that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. America was built off the back, the sweat, blood, and tears of you Negroes, especially you Negroes, but you Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians. It was taken away from you, so-called North American Indians. It was built by you so-called Negroes, and then you so-called Latinos had a hand, or were driven out of your lands as well, because we were already over here in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, that's why Cristobal Colon, all right, or also known as Christopher Columbus, when he came over to the Western Hemisphere, all right, he had a Hebrew translator, and he also came over here by the accounts of the Bible. Okay, look that up too. Okay, so for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she hath filled to her double. That's right, man. So they're gonna get it twice as bad as we had it when they put us into slavery. Verse 26, and beside all this, verse 25, and Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receiveth thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. But now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. And beside all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, so that they which would pass from hence to you cannot, neither can they pass to us that would come from thence. That's right, because in the kingdom, like Esau's kingdom is the last rulership, but the kingdom of Israel, okay, which is going to be run by ultimately Yahushai, it's going to be the last kingdom set up, right? And it's not going to change. We're not going to keep going back and forth between Esau's kingdom and Jacob's kingdom. You know, it's going to be once Esau's kingdom is destroyed, okay, Jacob's kingdom, okay, Yahushai's kingdom, which is Israel's kingdom by default, is going to be established forever and ever, man. Okay, and it says, verse 27, then he said, I pray thee, therefore, Father, that thou wouldest send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren, that he may testify unto them, lest they also come into this place of torment. Abraham saith unto him, they have Moses and the prophets, let them hear them. And he said, nay, Father Abraham, but if one went unto them from the dead, they will repent. And that's the thing, because in the day, we are listening, okay, by understanding these scriptures. These scriptures are written epistles of dead prophets, right? And the elect are being convinced by that alone. So it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you know, this truth is going to be out there for the elect, and in the ears of the elect, which have been preordained by Yahweh Shai since the beginning of time, okay, they're going to receive this truth regardless, okay? And it says, verse 31, and he said unto him, if they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded, though one rose from the dead. That's right. So in the day, the men and women that are going to receive, okay, this truth are the ones that are chosen from the beginning, especially, you know, beginning with the elect of Israel. All right. So anyways, that was it for this lesson. Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to close. I'm going to say, Ka Hala Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the elect, pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy to the sincere Akhwat that may listen. And I want to say, Abba Babal, call me Asher Allah, Shalom. Till next time. Shalom.